And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap.
Brutality.
And we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
Did they hire a coach or a professional hitman? Wait, no, hell no. Hell no. Hello, Tom Cruise?
Hello?
Hey, I'd like to report a pre-crime. Welcome to the Re-Report. Welcome to the Re-Report. I appreciate you guys for taking this time to hear me out. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, but we do have the playoffs, and I did post some flashback prediction videos of my NFL picks of division winners. Got 4 right, got 4 wrong, so 500. So I'm not too beat up about that because, like always, injuries always is the cause for a lot of these things, such as Aaron Rodgers on the Packers' first drive of the season, because I did pick the Jets to win the AFC East. I did get the, let's go to it actually. I picked the Jets to win the East, and I switched that one last minute before I recorded the predictions video. And I also picked I got the Ravens right. I had the Ravens winning. Even before that, we can talk about the playoffs. The Jets, of course, didn't make the playoffs, didn't win the division, didn't make the playoffs. I had them in the playoffs. I didn't have Miami in, and they got in. I had them winning just 9 games. Of course, I had Buffalo in as a wild card. I think I had them winning. Well, I had them winning 10 games, I believe. AFC North, I had the Bengals winning that division, which they did. And I had them winning 13. Not the Bengals, I'm sorry, the Ravens. I had them winning 13 games as well, which they did. I had Cleveland and Pittsburgh winning just 7 games, missing the playoffs, and they both got in. So that is a shocker, especially with Pittsburgh, because they're not a good team, and we're going to get to that when we do the predictions. And Cincinnati finished with a winning record. We know they would have been in. I'm not going to say probably. They would have been in had Joe Burrow not got injured. So they missed the playoffs. Houston Texans in the AFC South. They won the AFC South. Jacksonville missed the playoffs. I had them winning this division, and they missed the playoffs. Kind of like Tennessee folded last year in this division after starting 7-3. Jacksonville fell down a stretch of the season, and a surprise Houston team won the AFC South with a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach, a young team. Couldn't be more proud of them. Indianapolis, they finished with a winning record also, but missed the playoffs. I think I had them winning just 4 or 5 games anyway. Kansas City, to nobody's surprise, it was tough, but they won the AFC West. Chargers I had in the playoffs, and they missed the playoffs. I didn't have Denver in, but I did have them rebounding from last year, going 9-8, and they went 8-9. So I was a game off on them. Raiders, of course, I didn't have in the playoffs, but if they would have had Antonio Pierce from the start, maybe things would have been a little bit different. But the Raiders missed the playoffs. In the NFC, Cowboys won the division the last week of the season. I had the Eagles winning this division, I believe, with 12 wins. But in Dallas, I had going 11-6. But Philly went 11-6. They're the wild card team. Dallas won the division, so I was wrong on that one. NFC North, I had the Detroit Lions winning 11 games and winning the division. They won 12, so they did me one better. We just knew what they were going to be coming off of last year. Green Bay, I didn't have in the playoffs, but they were able to get in the playoffs. I had them winning just 6 games, I believe. And Minnesota, I had Minnesota in the playoffs as well, and they didn't get in. Probably would have been a different story, just like the Bengals had Kirk Cousins not got injured. NFC South, my division where my team lives, Carolina Panthers, sadly. I was high on the Panthers during the summer leading up and during training camp. But my whole tone changed once I saw them in preseason, and I just knew it wasn't going to be as I thought it would be. I still foolishly had them winning eight games, I believe, and missing the playoffs. But I just knew that I'm like, you know what, I don't see it with this team. They're not as good as I thought they could be. And they were this year a disaster, despite the fact that they finished with like the third-ranked defense, like always. They always got to get defense, but that offense, it needs work. That entire organization needs work. That's another video for another day. We'll save it for that. Atlanta Falcons didn't make the playoffs. I think I had them winning 8 games as well, maybe 7 like they did. Panthers 2-15, by the way. I had the Saints winning this division at 10-7, and they finished second at 9-8. Tampa won the division. I had them with 7 wins in 4th place in this division, and they won the division with Baker Mayfield. Beat the Panthers in week 18 of all teams to clinch the division. NFC West, 49ers again, the first team to clinch their division. I got this one right. They finished 12-5. I believe that's the record I had them at, or maybe 13-4, but they won the division. And the Rams, I had the Rams in the playoffs at 9-8, and they finished 10-7. They are in the playoffs. Seattle, I had them missing the playoffs, but they did win more games than I thought they would. And of course, Arizona at the bottom there. Those were my predictions for the playoffs, and I got 3 teams in the AFC out of 7, right? In the NFC, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7. So I didn't do hot in the AFC, but I did good in the NFC. But playoffs are set. We are here. We're in the playoffs, 2024 NFL playoffs for the 2023 season this weekend, starting Saturday. Then we got game Sunday, and then a Monday Night Football playoff game. So without further ado, let's get to our playoff predictions. So yeah, Browns at Texans, Saturday, 1:30 p.m. on NBC. They're giving Cleveland 2.5 on the road against Houston. And the Browns are an interesting team. They did defeat the Texans back on December 24th. No CJ Stroud. He was still dealing with a concussion, but the Browns dominated that game 36-22. But Cleveland, like I said, I originally had them going 7-10, missing the playoffs. I did have them missing the playoffs, and when they lost first Nick Chubb, I believe in week 2 against Pittsburgh, then they lost Deshaun Watson. It wasn't, it wasn't a far-fetched thing. Like, yeah, this team is not going to be good. Fans will just have to wait till next season. But Cleveland really bounced back. They really bounced back, especially with the Joe Flacco, of all people. The Joe Flacco signing. Signed my guy Joe Flacco, who was the reason I became a Baltimore Ravens supporter in 2008. I wanted the Panthers to move on from Jake Delhomme and draft Flacco. We drafted Jonathan Stewart, and then Baltimore drafted Flacco with the very next pick out of Delaware. So I'm a big Joe Flacco fan. Had a great Super Bowl run with Baltimore. 4 games, beat rookie Andrew Luck, beat a returning Peyton Manning, beat Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, went to the Super Bowl, and beat Colin Kaepernick. Had an electric postseason performance that year. 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, over 1,000 yards. Played lights out in that postseason. And now he's doing the same. He did the same thing with the Browns down the stretch of the season. She said the Jets didn't call him. Cleveland did. And look where they are now. 11-6 in the playoffs. Has a good chance to win this game. Not underdogs in this game. Has a lights out defense. Lights out defense. Explosive offense. Well, we won't look back. If Cleveland lose this game, we won't look back and say, oh man, if only they had Watson and Chubb, because they're good enough to win this game without those two. And that's taking nothing away from Houston. That's taking nothing away from Houston. And by the way, in that game against Houston back on December 24th, Flacco passed for 368 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cooper set a Browns record with 265 receiving yards. Houston's defense is not that good. They haven't been pretty much all season. They are torchable. And it's hard to bet against CJ Stroud, but this Browns defense is so lights out. And I wouldn't be upset if CJ Stroud won this game, because the season that they had no right, the Texans, to be as good as what they are. They had no right to be this good. They you know what I'm saying? They go 2-15 like the Panthers, or whatever, 5 wins, 6 wins. No, people don't have those expectations for them. But they are here, and that's why you play the games. That's why you play the game. That's why it's called Any Given Sunday. Or in this case, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. That's why you play the game. But I am going to take the Cleveland Browns over the Houston Texans, 27-17. I just think this defense is too good. I think the offense is playing at a crazy level right now. And that defense, you know what I'm saying, they don't have a ton of playoffs experience either, but they are capable. And I think they will get to CJ Stroud. But congratulations to DeMeco Ryan, head coach, CJ Stroud. Hopefully Ryan win coach of the year, but I'm going to take the Browns to advance in this game. I'm taking Cleveland to win this one, 27-17. And in the second game of Saturday at 5 p.m. exclusively on Peacock, a streaming service, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs. Miami, warm weather team. Played the Buffalo Bills in Miami in week 18 with the division on the line. Dolphins were in control of that division pretty much the entire season. And when it counted the most, you know what I'm saying, they just like the Cowboys, whom they beat, they already had problems beating teams with winning records. They already had that stigma attached to them. You know what I'm saying? Not beating a team with a winning record. I'm saying the Chargers, they beat the Chargers. Wasn't a very good team. And they were even underachieving before Herbert got injured. Patriots, of course, not a good team. Denver, they dropped 70 on. Was not a good team early on and still didn't finish with a winning record. Then after that, they lost to Buffalo 48-20. They beat the Giants, they beat the Panthers, then they lost to the Eagles, a good team. They beat the Patriots again, lost to the Chiefs out in Germany at the team that they play. They beat the Raiders, who are catching on, but still not a winning record. They beat the Jets, they beat Washington, then they lost to Tennessee. They beat the Jets again, 30-0. Then they beat Dallas, things were turning around, and then they went to Baltimore and got shellacked, got destroyed, beat down, wasn't close, wasn't funny. It should have been a mercy rule, should have been a running clock after a certain point. That's how bad it was. And then they went home against Buffalo with the division on the line, and they lost the game. They lost a chance to play a home playoff game against their arch rivals who swept them in the season series. There's also the Kansas City Chiefs, who have struggled all season. Even in the game they beat Miami, they didn't put up any points, the Chiefs that is, in the second half of that game in Frankfurt. They've gone a lot of games this season where they struggled in the second half and were going scoreless in the second half. But we do get Tyreek Hill, even though it'll be snowing. You know what I'm saying? He talks a lot of trash, especially about the Chiefs. We do get Tyreek Hill in the cold against his former team. And we're about to see what he's made of. We're about to see if Kansas City's really missing him. I mean, they are missing him. We've seen that this season with the receiver drops and everything. But we'll get to see it again firsthand, this time in the postseason, where it counts the absolute most. Yes, the game in Frankfurt counted, but this one counts the absolute most because this is in the playoffs. Again, I never believed in Miami really all season. They've always been a fun team to watch. A good team that with fantasy football players. Fun team. Explosive. But they just didn't do it when it really counted. When you really look to see, okay, let's see what they're made of. They hadn't done it. They beat Dallas. That's a good win. I won't take that one away from them, but that's one. They didn't do it consistently. They are 4.5-point underdogs in this game. And again, it's going to be very cold. You take this team who finished 4-4 away, but this is different. This is different because they haven't played in weather like this all season. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to win a close one over the Dolphins, 20-13. I'm going to take Kansas City. I don't know about going forward after, you know what I'm saying, I predict that this will be an ugly win. I don't know about going forward in the next round, but they'll beat Miami, a team I just hadn't bought all season long. They'll win this game. But after that, I don't know. We got to talk. Pittsburgh Steelers at Buffalo Bills. Pittsburgh made it to the playoffs. Happy for Mike Tomlin, another season, another at least winning season. You know what I'm saying? I think he only had one other 8-8 season. I know we're on a 17-game schedule now, but I think 2013, if I'm not mistaken, let me look that up, is when he went 8-8, and that was the only time he finished with a mediocre record. Let me get the facts on that. Yep, 8-8 in 2013, 2012. He went 8-8 in 2012 and in 2013. I didn't know that. I forgot all about that. So that's 2 years of 8-8 before they made it back to the playoffs in 2014. So yeah, he finished with another non-losing season, and they were able to sneak in the playoffs because Jacksonville lost. Pittsburgh Steelers, just like Jacksonville, are not a team I'm interested in watching in the playoffs because they're just not a good football team. They made it. I wish I could say the same about the Panthers, but from the outside looking in, I'm not thrilled about the Steelers being in the playoffs. Bills are favored in this game by 10. I said the Eagles earlier, and Bucks were probably the least interesting playoff game, but I think that's actually the Steelers and Bills because this outcome to me, this game will be a blowout. It'll be a blowout. People would challenge me on the score, but I'm gonna say Buffalo wins this game, 41 Bills, 17 Steelers. That's my prediction for this one. Least interesting one, but I'll be watching it because I'm a football fan. Our very next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Green Bay Packers. Their kryptonite, ironically green. The Green Bay Packers and the Cowboys are going at it again in the playoffs. Dallas 7.5-point favorites to win this game. These two teams did not meet this year in the regular season, but they did meet last year when the Packers won. They weren't a very good team, and they were still able to do what they always do against the Cowboys, and that's get a victory over them with Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay has nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be here. If they would have won 6 games, 5 games, 7 games, no one would have looked at the Packers and say, hey, what's going on? They should be better than this. But they made it. Despite that loss to the Giants a few weeks ago, they made it. They made it, and all they had to do was win, and they were in. And Jordan Love, who balled out this year, this is the trap game of the week. Because Green Bay is going to be out there knowing no one thinks we're going to win this game. The Dallas Cowboys are a legit team. They are a legit football team. They are capable as far as talent and how they've been playing this year of making it to the Super Bowl. But history will just say otherwise because they always seem to lay an egg when it counts the absolute most. But this is a legit team, 8-0 at home. They've won something like 16 in a row at home in front of their home fans. So what's going to be the outcome of this game? I'm going to take Dallas to win this game. I'm going to take Dallas to win this game against the Green Bay Packers. Dallas, you can't come out flat in this game. You can't come out playing with these guys because if you let this team who's not supposed to be here hang around, it's going to be bad news. They better come out and put their foot on these boys because Green Bay knows we're not supposed to be here. So I'm taking Dallas to win this game, 37-24. Cowboys over Packers. We have the most anticipated game of the week. We got the LA Rams at the Detroit Lions. Lions playoffs, let alone Lions home in the playoffs. And I believe this will be their first home playoff game at Ford Field in this stadium. It's been a long time coming. This game will be on NBC. It will close out the triple header. Detroit has the home favorite line at 3. So a little background about this. The reason that this game is the most interesting of all the playoff games, and we still have one more after this one. Matthew Stafford led the Detroit Lions, who's now the Rams quarterback. Matthew Stafford led the Detroit Lions to the playoffs 3 times. And he went 0-3 in all of those games. All 3 of those games were on the road. And now finally, Matthew Stafford get to play a postseason game in Detroit. Just for a different team. Matthew Stafford. I really cannot wait for this matchup right here. Just because of the storyline going in it. I'm all about storylines. I'm all about background and things like that. A lot of storylines playing, you know what I'm saying, going into factor here. Stafford played 12 seasons for the Detroit Lions before being traded to the LA Rams back in 2021. Helped lead the Rams to the Super Bowl in his first season with the team. Won the Super Bowl after spending 12 seasons with Detroit, only been to the playoffs 3 times. He then went into the postseason with the LA Rams, beat the Arizona Cardinals in the wild card round, beat Tampa Bay in the divisional round, beat San Francisco in the NFC Championship, beat the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl. He accomplished all of that in one postseason with the Rams, and he was in Detroit 12 years and only went to the playoffs 3 times. But there's also Jared Goff. Goff, who also took the, you know what I'm saying? He took the Rams to the Super Bowl. They didn't win, but he took the Rams to the Super Bowl. He was involved in that trade that sent Matthew Stafford to LA, because that same trade sent him to Matthew Stafford's former team in Detroit in 2021. And that season, we talked about the Rams winning the Super Bowl. Well, it was the complete opposite for the Detroit Lions, because they finished just 3-13-1. That was Dan Campbell's first season with the team, after saying that he was going to bite off some kneecaps and bite off shoulder blades and do all that type of stuff. I actually have that video because I did a reaction to that. We can take a look at that.
And so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right. And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right. And we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. Brutality. And we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right. That's going to be the mentality.
Did they hire a coach or a professional hitman? Wait, no, hell no. Hell no. Hello, Tom Cruise? Hello. Hey, I'd like to report a pre-crime. So yeah, that was the video of my reaction to the Dan Campbell press conference. Super bizarre press conference, super crazy at the time. But like I was saying, Jared Goff was sent to Detroit. Basically, we all thought, you know what I'm saying, this is where his career ends. He's just going to be a journeyman from here, a bona fide backup quarterback, especially after that first year in Detroit, 3-13-1. I'm like, all right, there's Jared Goff. Came and went, took the team to the Super Bowl. He was in an MVP conversation for a little bit during that season. But that's about it. That's his ceiling. But then last year hit. Team started 1-6, Detroit Lions. And then they finished really strong down the stretch, finishing the season overall 9-8. And we just knew this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2023. And they were finishing 12-5, crazy good run game. And we can't look at Jared Goff and just say, oh, he's just a game manager, because he makes things happen. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a Pro Bowl snub this year. They snubbed my guy who was on my fantasy team and only had really one bad game against Chicago. Missed one game, had 113, something like that, receptions, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Jared Goff revived his career out here in Detroit. He will forever be in the history books no matter what happened for Detroit Lions, because he is the starting quarterback that took this team back to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, giving them their first home playoff game since 1993. Detroit will name a street after this man if he wins the Super Bowl. They will name a street after him. But again, this is Detroit's first home game since 1993 in the playoffs, and they'll be looking for their first home playoff win since 1991. Again, I was a month old the last time they won a home playoff game. This is going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be a close game too. The Rams really caught fire. They were the one team who really hung in there and put some points on the Baltimore Ravens, almost beat the Baltimore Ravens down the stretch. I like the Rams. I didn't like them after that Cowboy game. I'm like, it's rebuild time. It's not looking good. There was something about Matthew Stafford's wife talking about the young core coming into the season or something, I believe, about the young receiving core. But all of that is washed away because they are in the playoffs. And I think they're going to win this game. I think the LA Rams are going to upset the Detroit Lions. It pains me to say because I like both teams. I should like Detroit more because it's been a long time since they've been on this stage. But I like both teams. And I think the Rams, with the experience, the quarterback, Matthew Stafford, this is going to be big for him too. He played 12 seasons for the franchise he's going up against, and he never played a home playoff game for that team. It's a big game for him as well. So I'm taking the Rams to beat the Detroit Lions. High scoring game. I'm going to say Detroit's going to do something like miss a field goal in the last seconds of the game, and the Rams will win 37-35. Give me the LA Rams over the Detroit Lions. In our final game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles Monday Night Football on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eagles favored by 3 in this game. Philadelphia Eagles started the season, as we all know, 10-1, looking like they were on pace to just run away with the division. It wasn't looking good in terms of the division for the Cowboys, because in their first 10 games, they were 7-3, while the Eagles were 10-1. And it's like, okay, this is the Eagles division right here. This is the Eagles division. But Philly, for whatever reason, decided to become overrated on defense, become terrible on defense, and the offense was just, ever since the Buffalo game, it just went downhill from there. The only team they beat were the New York Giants, and the Giants got that win right back the last game of the season. Not really costing the Eagles the division because Dallas blew out Washington. But the week prior against the Cardinals, that cost the Eagles the division, losing 35-31 at home to the Arizona Cardinals. They also lost to the Seattle Seahawks in the game they had won. They got beat down by the Cowboys, beat down by the Niners. And now they're on the road at Tampa Bay, and they are limping in the playoffs, trying to put it together in the playoffs, which is not a good sign. But fortunately for them, they are playing a team that they played back on Monday Night Football in Week 3 that they beat 25-11. Jalen Hurts still didn't have a good game. He still didn't have a good performance against the Bucs, but they survived that game against Tampa. And on the flip side about Tampa, once again, they won a weak division just like they did last year. The only difference is they had a winning record this year, winning division at 9-8. Last year, 8-9. But they looked terrible against Carolina in the finale that clinched them the division. They looked terrible against my Panthers. But on the flip side, the Panthers, it's a division game, and the Panthers has a really good defense. The only reason they get scored on is because the offense leaves them hanging most of the time. But the Panthers defense is not that bad. Like I said, they have a top 3 defense in the league. That's overlooked because the team has only 2 wins and their offense is horrific to watch. It's a terrible team. Terrible organization, not even just the team, the organization as a whole. The owner throwing drinks on people. Again, I'm getting sidetracked with these Panthers. Stop doing that. They're not in the dance. They haven't been in a long time. Let's focus on the teams that are in the dance. But yeah, they didn't look good in the Carolina game. They lost to New Orleans. Who has the advantage in this game? Tampa's at home. Who has the upper hand? Philly's limping in the playoffs with just one win after starting 10-1. They're not looking good either. They look terrible in that Giants game. Guys got hurt. Is A.J. Brown going to be available? Jalen Hurts, I think he has a hurt finger or hand or something. What is Tampa Bay going to look like? What is Philly going to look like? I'm saying Tampa's not really limping in the playoffs because the division has been just like this all season long, a tight race in a bad division. But they're still not must see like that. Like I said, this is the second least anticipated game right here, but I'm still going to watch it because I'm a football fan. But I'm going to take the Eagles to win an ugly game. I don't think it'll be pretty. I did pick the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I forgot to even mention that. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl early on in the season over the Baltimore Ravens. I'm looking to change that tune. Anyway, I'm going to take the Eagles to win this game 27-16 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got the Eagles winning this one. So that means before we get out of here, let's see. So we got Kansas City winning, we got Buffalo winning, we got Cleveland winning. So that means Cleveland will be going to Baltimore in the divisional round. Kansas City will be going to Buffalo. We got the Cowboys winning. We got the Eagles winning and the Rams winning. So that means the Rams will be going to San Francisco. The Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see what happens. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to hear me out. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Leave comments on who you think will win the games, and just overall, what do you guys think about what do you guys think about all of the games, but especially the Rams and Lions? I'm interested to hear that one. So appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. Peace.